Well, you always witness sometimes history, even though it doesn't really matter if you win or lose because the preseason game you're evaluating the talent. But we don't have to worry about the Saints going undefeated in preseason. So, we've never gone undefeated in preseason. Actually, we're the only NFL team. You would think there'd be maybe 2 or 3 teams. No, but the Saints are the only team that is not going undefeated in the exhibition season. What I'm really encouraged, one thing I'm really encouraged by is that, kind of setting the tone from the get-go. Now, can we do this against the Titans? 3 games in a row, we've forced a 3-and-out on the opening possession. Boy, hopefully that continues. You want to get the crowd into the game. It's nothing like the defense coming up. But I guess, it'd be better than 3-and-out. If on the first possession we had a scoop and score or pick six, or maybe just get a turnover. Then all of a sudden you're flipping the field and you got the field position. That'd be about the only thing better to set the tone, especially get the crowd, the Who Dat Nation on your side from the get-go. 3 games in a row we forced a 3-and-out. 13 times this preseason that we forced a 3-and-out. So you figure, man, if we doing that, 4 to 5 times a game, and a game that counts, boy, your defense is playing at a high level. And it all comes into what we've done on third down. Now, as far as I wanted to go 3 straight games, can we be on the plus side, the turnover margin? But we had a chance for one takeaway, with Malcolm Roach forcing that fumble. That was hopefully when we do that against the Titans, the ball bounces our way. But if you look at it, we were -2 for the game, but we still +2 for the preseason. So that's a positive note. They always say we're a creature of habits, and we need some good habits as far as being on that plus side. And that was a big reason why I always say this. We were -7 last year because we were only 7 wins last year because we were -11. Now, how about this? They paid attention to detail. And I don't know. I think it's a combination of what kind of officiating crew you have, about how many flags they throw. I kind of like this kind of crew. They only threw 7 penalties the whole game. Now, they called 5 against the Texans, 45 yards, only 2 against the Saints for 15. And we came into the game, in 2 games, we had 23 penalties for 222 yards. That is not winning football, but that's a big positive. Having only 2 penalties for 15, but I would even take what the Texans had. If you were getting about 4 or 5, like 45, 50 yards, I still think that's very high winning football. Now, looking at what's not good and was kind of deceptive was our rush defense. Because, we got to get a whole lot better with our run defense. We were concerned with that because the very first game we played Derrick Henry. So, he's going to be running downhill. So that's when you better pack a lunch. But, we were getting up a 5.2-yard average. That's ridiculous. You're not stopping nobody. But that was like kind of the quarterback scrambles and the runs. Well, we can't use that as an excuse why the Texans had success running the football. They didn't average 5.2, but just the running backs, they had 31 attempts, but averaged 4.2. So that was winning football. Now, I thought overall that was a little deceptive because Hayner had 2 rushes for 32 yards, and then we end up averaging 4.3 yards a run as a group, and that's because of Hayner. But coming into the game, we only averaging 2.9, which is that's you're not helping out the quarterback or the offense. No, I thought Jameis was really poised. I thought this was his best game compared to what he's done even in a number of practices or even against the Chiefs. He did a fine job out there being 11 of 16, 93 yards and a touchdown to Jimmy Graham, and really relying on Jimmy Graham. I mean, I like it when they're going to have both maybe Jimmy Graham, Jawan Johnson in the game at the same time when you're setting up a game plan. But Jimmy Graham, 4 targets, 3 catches. He had that long gain of 25 and that nice touchdown. Talk about making a contested catch. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, Steve, I agree with you and Deuce and everybody. Why in the hell are we throwing the ball so much to Lucas Kroll? Look, I know he produced at times, but we had 15 targets? No. You need to put that at least like maybe 9 or 10, and Hayner needed to spread the ball around to other receivers. No, Hayner looked very rookie-ish out there. He did not look poised like maybe he's looked in practice. he was too dialed in, maybe hitting crawl. You know, he didn't hit that running back at the end of the game, get the first down, because there's still a lot of time left for you to take a shot at the end zone and possibly win the game. But that's why, you know, a couple of interceptions, and that's one reason why we went from +4 to only +2, because hit 2 interceptions. His quarterback rating was only 36. So I just look at that. It's not even no competition. You know, you go by what happens on the field, and right now it is Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and Haener. It wasn't like, Haener's competing with Jameis Winston to be the backup. No, that is definitely not the case where we're at. I thought Shaq Davis, even though he's had a strong showing at the end of training camp, not so much this game. Now, they didn't block for him on that one jet sweep, but he had 6 targets, only 2 catches. I thought one catch is a little behind him, but I've seen him make that catch. So, really, I look at A.T. Perry and Shaq Davis. They're both in competition with one another. A.T. Perry got targeted 4 times, Shaq Davis 6. And then Perry had 3 catches to Shaq Davis's only 2 catches. And then looking at was also, as far as from a defensive perspective, Nephi Sewell. It's like, who are you competing with? Because it's all about, listen, if Jalen Smith don't make the team, I would be surprised. I mean, whether he's contributing on special teams or not. I know I've talked to Jeff about this, but the reason why, I'm looking at the numbers, he led the team in unassisted tackles. He led the team in combined tackles, and he's the only one that had 2 tackles for loss. And you look at Nephi Sewell, who I think is competing with DeMarco Jackson. Nephi Sewell was tied with Jalen Smith with 5 total tackles. But more importantly, you know what he did? He was tied for the lead in special teams tackles. So you look at Nephi Sewell and Howden, you know, the rookie out of Minnesota, they both had 2 special team tackles unassisted. So that goes a long way when you're evaluating the back end and the depth, who's going to make the team. I thought, Foskey, we took some good notes on Foskey tonight. If you look at it, he had 2 total tackles. He had a sack. He had a quarterback hurry, a tackle for loss. Maybe the light might be clicking upstairs, and he might be all of a sudden understanding more of the concepts. Lelos continues to get involved. He had 2 sacks just like Foskey, but he also had a sack, a quarterback hurry, and a tackle for a loss. But looking at DeMarco Jackson and Sewell, like I was saying, Sewell had 2 unassisted special teams tackles, but DeMarco Jackson had an unassisted and an assist. So I guess they both had 2, but Sewell was more the tackling machine, 5 tackles to only 2. Now, I bet a lot of people didn't guess this. You know, right now, because, you know, who's hurt and who's not. And you look, okay, it's all about opportunity. And how many tackles do you have, like, in special teams? How do you contribute? Like, you know, you can do any tackles for loss. You can do quarterback hurries, hits, sacks, everything. Okay, Ryan Conley. Okay, we know he has been out. He was leading everyone and with 7, coming into this game. Well, and he didn't play. So, you know, it was crazy for the preseason. I got to double check this, but like I think Malcolm Roach and is tied with Ryan Conley as far as with 7 total tackles. So Malcolm Roach has definitely improved his game where he's at. He ended up with a sack and, like I said, a 1 unassisted tackle and then a quarterback hurry. And he's the one that forced the fumble. It was too bad that the ball then bounced on our behalf. But the preseason is over. It is over. It looks like we came out relatively healthy. The one thing I would say, though, you know, when you're trying to make a team, this kind of bugged me. And he's a homeboy from Lutcher, like Kirkland. When they got you back there returning punts, man, you got to be overly aggressive. You can't be fair catching. He fair caught that ball. There wasn't nobody within 7 yards of him. Man, you got to almost take the attitude of old school Clarence Verdun or something. When he was at Atlanta and the Colts, fair catch. There's no such thing. You know, like, Pac-Man Jones was like that. You remember Pac-Man Jones? Fair catch. I'm never going to fair catch. Boy, that's the kind of
make a play.
That's the kind of attitude you want where, now you can't fumble the ball on the punt, obviously. Look at that debacle when it almost came about. But anyway, that's when, I don't know if you understand that how crucial it is and to catch the coach's eye and you think about the game and the score and everything. No, that's when you want, I'm running this back. I'm taking it to the house. And I can see, I think Deuce even mentioned it, that, come on, you got to Fair catch. No, they weren't even close to you.
Yeah, it was